So, I just got to go see this brand new horror thriller slasher movie called Death of a Unicorn, which is directed by Alex Schorfman. I hope I am saying that right. This stars Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd, who play a father-daughter duo who go to this rich people's mansion and they're doing some law and business stuff, but they encounter a unicorn that happens to have the cure to pretty much all diseases, including cancer, and they want to use that cure to get rich. Or richer, right? But that encounters them with a pretty big conflict. The other unicorns don't want them to, extort or use their bodies for riches and capitalistic gains, so they become monsters and they fight the main characters of this movie. We have a unicorn monster movie, essentially. Which on paper, the concept of this movie, how could you possibly get this wrong? A monster movie with unicorns that has gruesome kills, right? A hard R rating, and Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega absolutely carrying the weight of the film, and also other great supporting cast like Richard E. Grant and, of course, William Poulter. This seems like a slam dunk. Unfortunately, it ended up being a very dull experience somehow. And here are some of the reasons why. I think the main thing that's going wrong here is its characters. The characters in this movie, for the most part, are just kind of dull and unlikable. So Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd play this father-daughter duo, as I said before, and Paul Rudd is really this kind of jerk of a father. He's trying to take care of his daughter and give her the life that he believes she deserves. His wife, her mother, had died recently, and he really is trying to provide her with something great, right? Which seems like, how could that be unlikable? That seems like a very easy thing for an audience to latch onto. Well, because he approaches it in the most selfish way. Everything he does, although on the front it could seem like he's doing it for her, it really seems like he's just trying to benefit his own career, and because of that, they don't have a great relationship, and his character's never really likable. Now, of course, when the movie tries to do things to redeem his character, none of it feels earned. It feels like it's happening because the script needs it to happen, and because of that, Paul Rudd just is awful here, and I'm not blaming his performance. He's performing the script he was given. I just think the way this character was written is just not great, and he comes off as just a horrible dude the entire film, and just not likable at all. Which, how do you make Paul Rudd unlikable? Maybe that was the goal. If that was, congratulations. I would have thought making Paul Rudd unlikable was a much harder thing to do than just letting Paul Rudd be Paul Rudd and entertain audiences. Jenna Ortega here plays Jenna Ortega in her least interesting role ever, probably. Jenna Ortega, you know what to expect from her. She's done a ton of these types of movies now, these weird, horror thrillers. I really love her in Scream. I really liked her in the Beetlejuice sequel. I don't love her here. Her character is just kind of cookie cutter. You kind of know what's going to happen with her from the start of the movie, and there's some things there that Jenna Ortega does really well, some emotional stuff, but it's just exactly what you expect. There's nothing absurdly bold here, nothing absurdly horrible. It's just whatever. Now, not all the performances and characters here are forgettable or bad. There are a couple good ones. Will Poulter steals this movie. Every entertaining moment of this movie, every big laugh the film got out of me, every memorable piece of cinema that this movie has to offer involved Will Poulter. Now, Will Poulter's been good in just about everything he's done in his career, has gone onto the radar as being one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood. Also one of the funniest ones, just does not get enough credit for his comedic timing in these films. He's so funny here, playing the son of this very, very rich family, and yeah, I just want you guys to experience what he does here, so if you're gonna go see the movie, please don't spoil anything that Will Poulter does or says, because he's so much fun in this film. Anthony Carrigan, another actor who I've just loved everything he's in, going back from Gotham when he played, of course, Victor Zsasz, and then he's in Barry playing one of the main characters. He's also just excellent in everything he touches, does not get enough roles, and he's very, very fun in this movie. I also think at times the kills and the thriller elements here do work somewhat. The unicorns are very opposing, really when you're not seeing them, when you're just hearing them and you're feeling the threat of them, sort of confounding this group of characters that we have. When you actually do see them, it's just a CGI monstrosity, and it doesn't work. It takes away a lot of the fear factor that this movie was actually relying on in some of those scenes. But there are some creative kills, albeit very CGI heavy kills, but they're gruesome enough to make it feel worth it, I guess. The overall story here, yet again, very cookie cutter. Rich people trying to exploit animals for their riches, right? To make them rich, right? The obvious themes are here, and you've seen a billion movies with these types of themes and this type of story before, and unfortunately it just doesn't do anything interesting with those themes to make it stand out from the rest of the bunch, making it feel dull and boring. Mainly because you know where it's going. You know what's going to happen in the film, and none of the characters or the actual overall story is interesting enough to really make it set itself apart from other films in the same genre. I also think the ending of this movie just kind of sucked. The third act is an absolute mess. It felt like they had no idea how to wrap up the story they were trying to tell, so they went with the most generic option, and it also just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It's just sort of stupid. Overall, I was very disappointed by this one. I really dug the trailer, and I thought the concept of Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd fighting a bunch of, scary monster unicorns. How do you mess that up, right? But unfortunately, it just ends up being a very boring, forgettable unicorn slasher film that maybe you guys will be into. Like, there's definitely an audience for this film that I think will probably enjoy it a little more than I did, but it was just something I will forget that I saw probably 24 hours from now. I will give Death of a Unicorn a 2 out of 5. Just not my favorite of the year so far. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more. Check out this movie if you would like, and make your own opinion. I'll see you in the next one.